would love to hear a little bit of the history of, how did you come to know about the work of Weston A Price? Yeah.
I can't remember who introduced me to the book, but I read it in the early 70s, and it was a life-changing book, of course. And I was just starting out with my own family then, and I raised my kids according to these principles. It wasn't hard for me to embrace them because I've always loved to cook and used a lot of butter and eggs and stuff in my cooking. So I raised my kids according to these principles, and it definitely works. They didn't need braces. They were healthier than I had been, and grown into healthy, high-functioning adults.
You've seen generations grow from, you've seen them grow from small children to adults. Now, within your community, have you seen whether those children who actually adopted whole and traditional foods, have they kept carrying that on to pass that on?
Well, all I can say is my daughter, who's my oldest child and now has a baby, who's my grandson. She's been very, very good about, the message kind of stuck. And my grandson gets raw milk, cod liver oil, and organ meats, egg yolks. In fact, she makes sure she gets soy-free egg yolks for him. And she's not someone who's domestic like I was. She's a full-time career woman, but she's carved out time to do these things for his diet.
So you've seen that difference even from, from the, a so-called stay-at-home mom to somebody working full-time. There is time to...
There absolutely is time.
Because lots of people will say there's no way that we can make time to have a whole foods diet and eat real food. And
she makes pate and custard on the weekends, and doesn't take any time to give a baby his cod liver oil, or doesn't take any more time to give them raw milk versus pasteurized milk.
Exactly. If somebody is totally new to Nourishing Traditions and Whole Foods, where would you tell them to start? What would you tell them?
Well, I would start by making their own salad dressing. That's a huge improvement, just getting rid of those terrible oils. They're totally toxic, carcinogenic, and cause digestive disorders, all sorts of things. They cause premature aging. That's enough to convince anyone that they don't want to use these oils in these pre-prepared dressings. And I think that's a really good first step, to make your own salad dressing. It's the first step to becoming a wonderful cook. It doesn't cost you any more to do it, and it has tremendous health benefits. Then I would get into, next thing is make some chicken broth. And do the whole thing where you do a baked chicken and then make broth with the bones, and then make soup and chicken salad and chicken curry, and see how much you can get out of, how much really delicious food you can get out of one chicken.
What are your 3 favorite Nourishing Traditions recipes?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think the peach chutney is the fruit chutney made with peaches. That's a real favorite.
Yeah, that's lovely.
The baked chicken with the tarragon cream sauce is a real good one, and easy. Gosh.
That's tough, isn't it? Because there's, I know, it's every day we're trying to decide which one to make in our household kind of thing.
And probably chicken liver pate is a big favorite, and something I make a lot.
Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is just skipping back a little bit, but we're talking about you being introduced to the work of Weston Price, and introducing these traditions to your family. Well, not everybody goes and starts a foundation. So what compelled you to do that? Because that's taking it one step further than just learning about.
Well, it was myself, Mary Enig, and some others, including my husband, my current husband, who we just felt that we needed an organization to keep this message alive, to keep up with the science, and to be very active. There were other organizations, but they weren't so public-oriented, and we needed something that could really light fires under people, because this is a group effort. This you teach. It has to be everybody out there teaching.
Exactly.
So we felt that we needed to prepare teaching materials and have a journal that really kept up with the science.
Now, the people who are Weston A Pricers, they seem to be so committed to this. What do you attribute to that?
I think it's the seriousness of the message. It's great to have a fun conference and fun meals and everything, but what we've got right now is very tragic and very serious. It's the result of these dietary guidelines, low fat, processed food, et cetera, et cetera. We are seeing what this does to our children, and we have an incredible health crisis with our children. The children of this generation, most of them will never be normal because they didn't start out with real food. The people born before the war, they can abuse their bodies with junk food because they started out with real food. It's those first few years, how you start out, that affects the entire rest of your life. It's really very serious what's happened, and I think everyone realizes this, and they see the critical results, which is healthy children. This diet really works. It really produces vibrant, intelligent, strong, resistant, happy children. And if you can't get enthusiastic about that, I can't see what you could get enthusiastic about.
So what would you tell people who say, I'm confused because every day I hear on the radio or I read in the paper that I'm supposed to, I should be moving towards a vegetarian diet?
I would say you need to completely ignore everything you hear on the radio and read in the papers, because it's wrong. And whatever comes out of the government, it's wrong. These people are really acting as the marketing arms for the vegetable oil industry and the food processing industry. We might start with our Healthy for Life dietary guideline and recipe booklet, which is an alternative to USDA guidelines and very simple form.
So go to the website, take a look at the dietary guidelines, the alternative dietary guidelines. It's a good place for people to start. Right,
yes.
Great. And I'm just wondering, if there's anything that you want to add that we haven't touched on that you think is important.
Well, I think what's happening is, sounds kind of cruel, but this is how nature works. We call it the natural selection of the wise. And the people who continue to be gulled and believe the propaganda and to either eat the low-fat, sort of puritanical diet or what I call the pornographic food, one way or another, these people are going to die out. Either they will become infertile or they will not reach adulthood. And we're seeing this happen already. Whereas the people who have wisdom and knowledge and eat nutrient-dense foods, real unprocessed foods, they are going to have healthy children. And basically we're coming to a point where we're going to have an aristocracy of the healthy. So I think most parents would prefer their children to be part of that group than the group that needs medical care and doesn't have a fulfilling life.
Well, thank you so much for those words of wisdom and for taking some time to chat with us today. And
thanks for having me.
The theme of the conference is Mythbusters. So in terms of all of the propaganda that we're from the government, from big agribusiness, we'll be distilling some of that, I guess, over the weekend as well.
And what pleases me about this conference is that it's not just sort of our rebel people here. We have representatives from industry and we have representatives from the academic world. We have physicians, all as speakers. So I think we have a terrific program this year.
Great.